my name is Amanda. Welcome to my channel. So this is my best and worst books, the good, the bad, and the ugly for this month. I have not read as much as I normally do because I had to actually read with my eyes and not read with my ears. So I didn't constantly have audiobooks going, even though there were a couple that I did listen on audio. They were a lot of arcs, and it was a really good month because pretty much almost everything was 4 or 5 stars. So instead of talking about all of the books, I do want to go ahead and talk about the 5-star reads of this month. The first one was In His Father's Footsteps by Danielle Steel, and that one was phenomenal. I know it got mixed reviews, but it's about this man and this woman who was just liberated in World War II. They were in a concentration camp. They were liberated, but they didn't want to be separated. They got to know each other in the concentration camp, and he already loved her. And there was this family that was willing to go ahead and sponsor them to come to the United States, but they were separate people, and they didn't want to be separated because then she wouldn't know anybody and he wouldn't know anybody, and so they decided that they were just going to go ahead and get married, and they did. They got married, and right then and there, and they went to the United States, and they were promised an apartment for a year, work and everything else. And basically the guy ran a sweatshop, and it was a very rough year, and she ends up getting pregnant, and of course it's his. And whenever the baby is born, it's more, the book is more about how being in the concentration camp affected them, how they look at the world, of trust issues, and it certainly affected how they raised their son, and how they raised their son, it affected him in his career as an adult and his relationships and everything. And it was so good, so good. I highly recommend that book. And of course there are a couple others, but that is the one that sticks into my mind as far as the best book. But let me see, because I know that there were a couple of more 5-star books. A couple more. Jeez. Okay, the next one is Little Me, My Life from A to Z. This one was by Matt Lucas, and he is the guy who has alopecia that was on Little Britain, which is a funny show if you have not watched it. It was on the BBC, and then they came to America and was on HBO for a while, but the BBC one was so much better, and it was so funny, and he is a funny guy. I mean, he goes on pages just talking about a food item that he either loves or he hates. It was a good laugh. It was such a good autobiography. I loved it. And then the next one is one that actually really surprised me, and it was Tales of the Astonishing Black Spark by Charlie J. Askew, and it is a superhero novel, and I was actually really surprised that I was going to give this 5 stars. Really surprised. I was hooked. It is a long book, but let me tell you, it was so good. I laughed out loud. I cried. I got mad. I was happy. It gave me all of the emotions, and I just really loved it. So I really want to read more by this author, that's for sure. And then the last book that I want to talk about was pretty much the worst book that I've read this month, and it is called A Murder in My Hometown by Rebecca Morris. I gave it 2 stars, and whenever I sit down and I read a true crime novel, I want the crime. I don't want to know about the author's life. The author happened to live in the same hometown, but she really didn't know anybody that was associated with this, with the murder, and she just heard a lot about it. And so you get to hear more about her life in that hometown, and her life now than the actual crime. I would say that it was 80% about her and 20% about the crime. So that kind of left a bad taste in my mouth, because if I'm sitting down for a true crime book, it better be all about true crime, because you have to be in a specific state of mind to read a true crime novel, and I was not wanting a biography. If she wants to write a biography on her life, an autobiography on her life, then, you know, so be it. Write an autobiography on your life. But don't write an autobiography on your life or a part of your life and call it true crime. That was my problem. And I gave it 2 stars. I should have only given it 1. But it was just, it made me angry, and I'm still angry about it, but we're just gonna move on. We're just gonna move on. So pretty much that was all of the books that were 5 stars and my worst book for the month of May. Now in June, I'm not going to do like a wrap-up book, because I'm going to be doing a wrap-up video, because I'm going to be doing the Simsathon, and I can't wait for that one. So my wrap-up is basically going to be the finale of the Simsathon, if that makes sense. So, you know, I'll talk about the best books there and everything. So yeah, that is my video. Hopefully you guys are reading some really good books. It is becoming the perfect weather to read. I've been sitting out on my enclosed porch reading and enjoying the weather, and even whenever it's raining, I'm enjoying it. So it's a good time. It's a good time. It's a perfect time to read. So this is my favorite time of the year to read anyway. So yeah, hopefully you guys are enjoying your books, and I am rambling, so I'm gonna go. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!